Type 2 diabetes is reversible, but sometimes you need a little bit of help. That's why we have world renowned diabetes reversal expert, Dr. Dansinger, who joins us every week for office hours. And we invite all of you to join us every single week. And if you want Dr. Dansinger to deep dive into your situation and help with what you're eating and maybe shouldn't be eating, then drop us an email at info@padhelp.org, and we will get you on with Dr. Dansinger every single week. Today, guess who we have here, Dr. Dansinger? We have Lori, who's here with us, and she is going to be sharing her story and hoping you can demonstrate how you help patients through diabetesreversalpartners.com.
Sounds good. I'm very excited. Lori, it's great to meet you. Thanks for being with us today.
It's nice to meet you too, Dr. D.
So I've said before, the most important thing a doctor can do is listen to the patient. So we are ready to listen, and please share what you can about yourself, starting with what makes you interested in having this conversation today.
Well, I'm interested because I've been diagnosed with type 2 and I've had it for a while. And it's not a fun deal because I miss a lot of food that I used to be able to eat. And mainly fast food, junk food. Um, and the more I eat it, the more I'm addicted to it. And so I've had to change my evil ways, so to speak, and uh, learn how to make my own food, which I'm not really great at, but I try. I have a wok. I have actually an authentic Chinese wok, so I try to use that. And so basically, I'm finding that for myself, unless I can get super creative or something, I'm just basically eating a little protein and some vegetables and not much fruit. And all the fun stuff seems to have to go if I want to lower my darn A1C and be healthy.
Lori, you've done a great job spelling out a dilemma that most people with diabetes deal with. This feeling of being, I'll say between a rock and a hard place. If you know that one. On the one hand, a person can just stick to their usual routine, which is fueling the diabetes, allowing it to get worse, or to do the hard work of making sacrifices and eating less of the foods that are fueling the problem is very difficult for many people. I too, you know, I would say most Americans, love, you know, have had a relationship with fast food. And when I was a teenager, about once a month, mom would get the day off of cooking dinner, and dad and I would go out and we would go to all the, a fast food restaurant. And I have a lot of fond memories. And occasionally I'll even eat that stuff because it still tastes good to me. And so many people with diabetes are trying to find the balance between strictness and freedom. And for many people, it's different from smoking, for example, where you can just have zero, or alcoholism, where the goal is to not have a drink that day. With food, including treats, it's much more, it's not black and white. You know, you're gonna, we all eat unhealthy foods from time to time, and navigating the gray zone is really tricky. Would you agree? Is that what you're describing?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I don't know what's going on with the fast food industry, but I don't trust them because what I'm noticing is versus when I was, back like say in the 70s and you go to McDonald's and you'd eat it and then you forget it. Well, today, or, and you'd have it at another time, but it wasn't like this stuck on your brain kind of a thing. If I eat it now, if I go have a Big Mac with fries, it sets me up for more. And I didn't, and back in the day, it didn't do that to me. So I don't know what's going on. Are they poisoning us or what? But it's becoming more and more addictive to eat those things.
Right. And I wish I had an easy answer. I wish I could just say, oh, turmeric's the answer. But, you know, I I'll acknowledge a few things. First of all, the human brain is very complicated and it goes through some changes. Secondly, the food itself has evolved. So fast food places I'm not saying that the Big Mac tastes any different, is any different, or the quarter pounder with cheese or the filet of fish. Those foods really aren't different than they were 50 years ago. I think the recipes are the same for the most part, but fast food places have become more and more sophisticated at getting people to buy and to keep coming back for whatever reason. They have, you know, invested millions and billions of dollars figuring out how to get people to come back to make their food more craveable and addictive than ever. And so restaurants, for example, I'll just pick whether it's Chili's or Applebee's or we could all list Cheesecake Factory, has gotten better and better at figuring out how to make their foods more craveable. And I
Adding
think
more salt and sugar.
yeah, and
Oh, there
exactly.
you go.
And so it's harder than ever, I think, to it's on the one hand, it's harder than ever to navigate the landmine of American restaurants. On the other hand, there's never been a better time to eat healthily, and I think supermarkets have gotten better and better at providing a wide range of healthy foods as well as unhealthy foods. So let's figure out how to steer, minimize, find the right balance between strictness and freedom. Lori, what has been working for you? What has allowed you to get the amount of success that you have been able to achieve so far?
Well, being honest with myself as far as you know, uh, facing the fact that I have a problem, that I have a problem with the food, and saying, okay, so now what can I do about it? And learning how to cook meals for myself and try to, I buy spices, that don't have, the salt in it. Learning how to cook with the spices, making that effort. I don't really like to cook that much. Sometimes I don't mind, but sometimes it's an effort for me. So I have to do things that are easy, kind of like chop, chop in the pan it goes, or in the oven it goes. Because I don't want to spend hours in the kitchen trying to prepare a meal, and I'll get a recipe book and I go, wow, these recipes look great, but I know myself, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing it. So that's a challenge for me. Oh, but you asked me what am I doing to get to where I need to keep the
Yeah, some
A1C
of the
low and everything.
successes you've had already with
The successes
changing
I've
your
had,
behaviors.
um, yeah, I take supplements. I was taking a berberine supplement by Terry's Naturally brand, and it was really working for me because what the berberine did was it took the food off my brain. And so whatever I would eat, I was more satisfied and less hungry. Well, I had to buy a refill bottle of it, and they changed the formula or something. And so now it started to get me constipated. So I got to find another formula. But I did find that the berberine was very helpful. And just sticking to what I say I'm going to eat, some protein, some chicken, some beef, pretty much, salad and vegetables. I could, eat, a lot of that pretty much. And then if I have fruit, it's like maybe, okay, well, one apple or one banana. I don't try to eat too much fruit.
And
I'll
Dr.
have,
Danziger always says to add some protein when you eat a piece of fruit. Make sure you add some protein to it, right, Dr. D, to balance out some of those sugars.
Yeah, that can definitely help. So, Lori, you've got, some progress that you've made with your, day-to-day, week-to-week
yeah,
behaviors. And I think many people, by joining a community like ours, right, the Global PAD Association, and um, putting yourself in the position to be supported by others. Kim, have you found lots of people, once they join the community, can leap forward on their own, health journey?
Yeah, I mean, we just had Becky that recently, she even posted the other day. I don't know if I shared it with you. She's so excited. She keeps doing updates in the group as to her progress after you inspired her to take action and start making the changes that she needs to make. And so it does really help. And we had Alan that ended up, you suggested a recipe that took you 10 minutes to make. It took us 10 minutes to make, which was just shrimp and snow peas
Oh
in a
yeah.
yeah, right, it was just in a saute pan. Use a little olive oil or avocado oil. But what we discovered, actually, we did 2 weeks of this, Dr. Danzinger. One week where I was cooking the recipe with our chef Eric on Patty's Plate, youtube.com/the outside the way to my heart. um so we each had our own versions of it. And what we discovered in the second week, we had Alan and we had our friend Douglas join us, and they cooked their own versions of it. And we realized that you could have this style of recipe in your wok every single night with a different set of vegetables. So you go to Walmart or go to the dollar store if they have a frozen food section and pick up the frozen vegetables, mixed vegetables. You can get bell peppers, you can get a mix of mushrooms, potatoes, carrots, string beans, whatever. You can get all kinds of different mixes of vegetables, and you could just pour that into a saute pan, mix it up, and then put it to the side, and then cook some protein, whether it's chicken, whether it's shrimp. You can add the lemon to your shrimp. I know you like lemon with your seafood. You
Mm.
can add tofu or tempeh or just whatever protein you want, and then saute it a little bit, make sure it's cooked, put the vegetables back in, mix it in, add your Mrs. Dash or oregano or whatever spices you want, cayenne pepper, and you could have it different. You can even just make a whole big wok full on a Sunday night, and you could have 3 or 4 meals for the week right there from that one wok.
That's a good idea.
Thank you, Kim, for sharing
Thank,
those. So
thank you,
yeah, that
Kim.
just goes, so putting yourself in the position of being, having a support system in as many ways as you can is a major tip. And a lot of my patients have found that the recipe for successful eating is 1/4 willpower and 3/4 planning. So
Mm.
at first, many people just white knuckle it and say, I'm just, oh, I'm just gonna skip that. I'm craving this. I'm craving ice cream. I'm just not gonna do it. But the you want to rely on your willpower, the least necessary, and you want to,
Yeah.
by using methods of preparation so that you have the right food in the right place at the right time, then you don't have to rely on willpower. You're not getting caught off guard and having to resist temptations because you're already full from healthy foods. So getting better and better with your planning. You want to know in advance what's going to be for lunch and dinner in the next 48 hours. And very few people could tell you what they're going to be eating 48 hours from now. It takes practice.
Yeah.
I'll also acknowledge that doing the right thing, you know, it taking the high road is requires, you know, it's not as easy sometimes as taking the shortcut. And Um, there's a big difference between knowing what to do versus doing it consistently week after week after week. We get tired of every day going through the same steps. I mean, preparation and willpower, it uses up energy. It's hard. So I'm acknowledging that there needs to be a payoff in order to sustain the hard work of taking the high road.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some tangible things? I mean, she loves fast food, Dr. Danziger. What's worked
Oh.
for some people? I know that we talked to Becky and she loves her triple cheeseburger. And one of the things that she has noticed really works is over at Trader Joe's, they have these sourdough, Egyptian sourdough pita pockets that she cuts in half. She sticks them in the air fryer, cuts it in half, and then she puts her own little bison burger with onions and tomato and stuff in there. Caramelized onions, she says, helps a lot with satisfaction. Just sauteing the onions and then sticking them in there. I'm adding the Dijon mustard and some unsweetened ketchup in there, and she says that satisfies her craving for that triple cheeseburger now, which is really great. But what are the things, Lori? What do you crave at the fast food that maybe he can help you with some suggestions to or alternatives?
Sometimes I crave a Big Mac. Um, and
See,
the worst one I crave is this place. It's just a little hole in the wall burger takeout place, like a no name takeout. I think it's called Bill's or something down in Santa Maria. And they got the pastrami sandwich, and they
lots
got
of salt.
the yeah, yeah. Oh, I love salt. I love salt more than sugar. And then
Yeah.
they got the taquitos, which are deep fried. And so that one sticks on my brain. And then as far as the sweet is the chocolate pineapple shake. And I'm gonna try to make my own sugar-free version of that with Hershey's sugar-free syrup. And I know they say that the sugar-free stuff is bad for you because of the aspartame and everything, but you know what? I got to choose the lesser of the two evils, and so I'm gonna go get my Hershey's zero sugar syrup.
Right. So I do agree with that idea of the lesser of the two evils. I've always said that about artificial sweeteners is that they're not great, and
Right.
who knows what they're doing to the body, and researchers are looking into that, but it's not as bad as what sugar does. So there's a middle ground to be navigated.
Yeah, and I can get almond milk or cashew milk instead of milk, and then I can just get my pineapple, chop it up, mix it in a blender, and maybe add just a little banana, and I got my own shake.
So what if you actually instead of that syrup, Dr. D has always talked about he's a fan of stevia, right? Is it stevia?
Yeah, or
Stevia.
Dr. D,
stevia or
stevia.
stevia. That's the best of the
So
artificial sweeteners. Yeah.
So what if
Right,
you got some raw cacao? Because I know you're into the nutrition wellness stuff, right? Get some
right.
raw cacao from Terrasul, and you can mix it with a little bit of the liquid stevia, and that becomes your chocolate. And that's high antioxidant cacao
I could
with the
try it.
stevia
I
for
have monk
sweetening.
fruit, but I've had stevia before. I could try it. I could try
He
it and
doesn't
see.
like Dr. D, you
Yeah.
don't like monk fruit, right? As much as stevia.
Monk fruit's not the problem. It's usually mixed with erythritol, which might not be as good as we once thought. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I can always pick up the stevia. Yeah. Yeah. Kim, going back to Becky, who got the Egyptian sourdough. I have a problem with bread. It's a high carb, right?
Yeah, but if you're gonna go get a Big Mac, isn't that better than a Big Mac?
Well, it might be. I'd have to look at the carb grams because they tell all the diabetics,
Uh,
skip the carbs, low carb. And I love bread. I love sourdough bread.
But what if, right, Dr. D, what if you could have that once and you could have half? Isn't it better than having the bun? Because remember, Lori, I asked you, I'm like, can you just get do a lettuce wrap? Because that's the lesser of two
Yes.
evils. And
Yes,
you
I've
said,
done
no,
that at
I like
In-N-Out.
my bun. You said, if I go get a Big Mac, I want my bun.
Well, yes,
Calling you
yes.
out.
Yeah, and here's the problem with me and bread and buns. It makes me more hungry. Bread,
Absolutely. It turns to sugar and it's an appetite stimulant. So the general approach that most of my patients are taking to deal with, some of their favorites that they hate to give up is they say, I'm gonna try to find healthy alternative to
Yeah.
that favorite, so a healthy cheeseburger, for example, and come up with different ways and do online research of different versions of, healthy alternatives that give the same flavor profile. And they also say, but once a year on my birthday or once a year at this, they'll allow themselves to have the real thing as a middle ground, and they know that, okay, eventually I'm going to have it. I haven't eaten my last X, Y, or Z. But that combination of strategies, I think, is very common, and say, yes, I'm going to have it once, but not until, you know, the next time I'm, in this circumstance. And then for bread, a lot of my patients are, making sandwiches out of the egg life wraps. These are
Oh yeah, yeah.
tortilla shaped. So you could, for example, create a, healthier version of a Reuben sandwich or any kind of, a fajita or something, using these tortilla shaped egg whites. I think they're difficult to make at home. It's not just a matter of pouring, some egg white into a disc shape in a pan. I'd recommend buying the egg life wraps. You can get a 6 pack. Certain stores have them, like Whole Foods, for example. And then you can use those like you would a tortilla. Another approach is there are these low carb breads that are out there that have like 1 net gram. I don't love those, but they're better than regular bread. A lot of people say if I'm going to eat bread, it's sourdough bread. And that might be one of the better breads to eat, but it's still very starchy. It'll spike the blood sugar. So I don't think sourdough is really a great answer to this. And then there's the wasa crisp breads, and these are kind of like a combination of it's shaped like a graham cracker. It's kind of a um it is high in fiber, low in starch, and for some people, having that wasa bread is like a good middle ground compromise. So they've got something crunchy that's a little bit bread-like, but there's no great solution to any of this.
What
No,
about
but
those zero net carb tortillas?
I I just there are a lot of other things in them. I like Dr. D's suggestion for the egg life, and I because that also adds protein, and then it
Yeah.
gives you a little more filler. And I use the coconut turmeric wraps that I get on
Oh,
Amazon as another
Oh,
option, but those don't have the additional protein in it, and protein is really good for you. The new food guidelines say that we really should increase the protein. So um, that might be something a little more satisfying for you, more hearty,
yeah.
right, Dr. D?
yes, I
Is
think the
that
egg life wraps are definitely worth a try. And yeah, the turmeric, say those again, Kim. I
the
haven't tried the
Yeah, the coconut turmeric wraps. My dad
uh,
and I absolutely love
yeah.
them. We'll do a little egg salad in it in the morning, and I mix the eggs with, I know, a little bit of mayonnaise. It's my vice. But I add, some chopped bell peppers, and I'll add some crushed onion and a little bit of some cayenne pepper to it and some garlic, and then I wrap it up in there. And especially if you have, do the hard boiled eggs when they're warm. Oh, so good. And you have all this stuff ready. You mix it in really quick and you have that nice, warm, soft egg, mixed in there. It is delicious and so satisfying. So I know you have to run, Dr. D. We are right on time here. But Lori, we're back on, I think we'll come back here on the 22nd. Hopefully we'll have an update and you'll have more questions for us, at that point. But Dr. D, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time. If you are in New York, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Minnesota, or Virginia, and you have a Medicare or Medicare Advantage PPO plan, go to diabetesreversalpartners.com and you can probably check out Dr. Dansinger's one-on-one services for diabetes reversal. He also helps with artery health, reducing inflammation, but he's also here every single week. So make sure you do subscribe to this channel at The Way to My Heart and also at Michael Dansinger, MD. And if you want to join our live studio audience, email us at info@padhelp.org. Thanks everyone for joining us.